right, this is my buddy Karina, who was bred by my apprentice Sam, and now she lives in lovely California. Now she's a little bit nervous around some new people, and so we're spending a lot of time talking about different tips and tricks that we can use. In this video, we're gonna talk about things that we can do to help Karina feel comfortable. Now, this has been about an hour, and I knew Karina before this session. I still have not tried to pet her, and that's what most of us try to do, is we try to pet a dog to show it that we're comfortable. She was not comfortable. So what I was doing, and this is what I'm going to have the guardian do, we're going to demonstrate it a little bit. Now she's comfortable enough, she's coming over to take the treats, so I'm able to give them to her. But at first she wouldn't come and take them from me. So I didn't call her over, I didn't look at her, I didn't talk to her, and I certainly didn't try to pet her. Any of those things, if you have a fearful dog, the more interaction or engagement you try to make with the dog, the more they're going to think that they're validating their fears. So you just want to ignore the dog completely, even if it's barking. Now, yes, you're definitely comfortable with me now. So basically what I did was I started offering treats. I put it on the floor about halfway distance between me and where she was sitting. She came down, she would lean really far and take the treat and then run away. And I could tell she has cortisol in her blood, which is the stress hormone, because she's really twitchy and jumpy. That's what happens when we have cortisol in our blood. If you're about to get mugged, your body prepares you for fight or flight. And it's healthy in short patches of time. But people are heroes, the first responders, the military people, those people are in really stressful situations. They're in that situation for too long. They start getting post-traumatic stress disorder because they're in that heightened sense of alert for too long. So dogs absolutely can have PTSD. I'm not saying it's PTSD, but I can tell that she has cortisol in her blood. And so I think there are a lot of little things that were going on in the household that were confusing her, that we want to offer off camera, not reinforcing the wrong things, like petting a dog that's nervous will make the dog more nervous. We were using some techniques that are a little bit more punitive in measures, like squirt bottles and things like that dogs don't really respond to and actually can really break the trust a little bit. So basically what I kept on doing is offering the treat, and I'll go ahead and I'll simulate it even though she's fine. And I'd come and put it there, and right there you can see she kind of leaned over away from it. So when she's leaning towards to get a treat or taking it and then running away, this is not the case. We'll show it in here in a second. She'll probably demonstrate it again. But when she's leaning over and then taking it and running away, she's saying, I'm uncomfortable. So we don't try to do anything else until she feels comfortable with it. Now, when I offer a treat, the first thing I was doing is leaving him on the floor. It's easier. It's what we call static. The dog doesn't have to interact with me and it gets the treat. And what we want the dog to do is practice approaching the person, getting a high value reinforcer, in this case a treat, then being able to walk away on her own without the person doing anything that's in her mind bad. In her mind, touching or petting her is bad, especially if she's nervous, because that's going to amplify that. So basically what we do is I leave the treat there, and eventually she came over and take it and then walk away. Then she started kind of lingering. Then I started offering a treat like that, and notice I'm holding my hand still. She came back and licked it a second or third time. And I kept on doing that until she no longer had a lean and she started lingering here. And now, because I've taken my time in practice, and this has been about almost an hour and a half, 2 hours in the session, she'll jump up on me. Now, normally I don't advise having a dog jump up on you, but for a fearful dog, that's a way of indicating that she's comfortable because she's not taking it and running away. And again, I'm leaving my hands frozen after I gave her the treat, and she's sniffing me, my leg, and everything else. Dogs should meet by scent. So the more that she smells me or licks me to interact with me, the better she gets to know me. And I'm earning her trust because I'm not reaching over trying to pet her. I could probably pet her now and she'd be okay, but until she starts coming over and jumping up and not leaning and taking treats from people's hands, they shouldn't try to pet her. Now, a lot of us, we have social graces. We want everybody to pet our dog. We want everybody to have a good experience with their dog. But if the dog's fearful, the dog needs us to look out for them and say, look, she had a traumatic experience with a person that looks similar to you, and so we're just trying to, you can really help out. Do you mind throwing a treat towards her? And then maybe if we see again, you can maybe we can work towards petting her. She would, and so if somebody says, you can fib a little bit and say she got scared by somebody that looked like you. Oh, I want to help. How can I help? Could you hold your hand out on the side and give her a treat? Sideways is more approachable for dogs. So I hold my hand out. She takes the treat. She samples me. I'm holding it still. I'm not looking at her. And then she moved away, and then I pull my hand back. And I try to do this in kind of slow and fluid movements. I say, pretend like you're underwater. Fast, quick movements can make a twitchy dog with cortisol a little bit more stressed. So let's say we run into a bunch of children and the kids all want to pet her and they don't even ask, they just come up. So if you see the kids coming, recognize them. Hey, hold on guys, she got scared by, if they're fourth graders, she got scared by a fifth grader who just came up and yelled at her. If you guys, would you like to help me? Would you like to give her a cookie? I want to give her a cookie. Okay, can you guys form a line? Little kids will form lines like there's no tomorrow. And then basically show them first. Say, okay, well, what we're going to do is she feels more comfortable taking the treat from our side. And I'm taking these trick-or-treaters and tearing them in half because Sam will get mad at me if I make her dog fat. So what I do is I hold it off to the side. She comes and takes it, and then I tell the kid to, once she takes it, freeze like you're playing the game of statue. And the kid will freeze, and she'll lick their hand a second time. And when she moves away, they can say, okay, thank you, can you go to the end of the line? And then the next kid comes up and does the same thing. So you may get 3, 5 kids that all practice giving her a treat. None of them try to pet her. None of them are looking at her. That's going to build up some positive experience credits for her. The next time she meets kids, she's going to be more open to meeting them because my mom is putting me in a situation where it's not dangerous. It's not more than I can deal with. And these kids, I had these kids wrong. They're not little they're little treat delivery people. And they all have treats on them. They all taste like the same treats that my mommy gives me because our mommy is giving the treats to everyone. And so after a while, she'll start lingering like this and feel more and more comfortable around people. Now, I also went over a technique I demonstrated, and I'm going to do it here, called counter conditioning. Counter conditioning is where we want to do a replacement behavior. So if the dog is scared of kids, and we have kids like relatives that are going to be coming over visiting, we want the dog to practice being around kids. But the whole point of dog behavior is they have to practice whatever they're doing, what we call sub-threshold. Above threshold is essentially the dog's version of hysterical. And once somebody's hysterical, you're not going to listen to them. They're not going to hear anything. They're not going to learn anything. So if your dog is hysterical, she's actually saying please. She's holding up her paw. She's so polite. You were raised by a very good breeder. So basically, if we, I lost my train of thought. What was I just saying right before that? It'll come back to me. So basically what we want to do is for counter conditioning. So what we want to do is we want the dogs to start seeing kids, but at a distance that they feel comfortable with. So let's say the kids are way over there. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take one of these high value training treats and it's squared. I'm going to smash it. So now it looks like a pancake. It's really thin. This allows me to deliver the treat in 3 to 5 bites. What I'm going to do is leave the dog over here. Karina, it's actually better if you're this way, sweetheart. There you go. Go ahead and get that one. See, there we go. So let's say it's over there. So now I'm having her chew on the treats while she's looking at it. Now make sure when you're doing this, you're not holding it down too far because a lot of times the dog is looking straight down. So you can have sometimes somebody behind you, but just make sure her eye is up and she's looking in the direction of the kid. A playground of kids would be an ideal place to do this. Now, first what we want to do is we want to set her up for success. So we would exercise her before we went around and did this. We would make sure she maybe do this after a couple hours after feeding her so she's good and treat motivated. She's very treat motivated. And then we would also might want to pick a time where instead of being happy hour with 28 kids in the jungle gym, there's 2 because we're there at 1 o'clock in the afternoon. And these are sick kids or little kids or whatever it is. So now we find a distance where Karina feels comfortable. Now my 2 litmus tests, can the dog sit or take a treat? If they won't do either one of those things, they're getting close to their breaking point. And once she's lunging, barking, reacting, she's not going to learn anything. She's hysterical. So the whole point is to get as close as you can without her reacting. So what I do is let's say go to 50 yards and then tell her to sit. And she sits and give her a treat. And she takes the treat and just a quarter of the treat. Then take a couple steps towards the kids and stop and sit again. Keep doing that until you get to a distance where she won't sit down or won't take the treat. Then walk about 10 or 15 feet away, but take note of where you were first. And then walk back maybe, let's say we're at 55 feet or 50 feet before she wouldn't sit down anymore. I might walk back to 52 feet. So we're a couple feet beyond that. And then what I'm going to do is do the counter conditioning. This will actually be a little bit easier to see with this. So I smash the treat, let's say the playground's there, and I can get her to look whatever direction I want by raising the treat up and down. So make sure she's not looking, she's doing a good job. So her eyes are up and you're not blocking her. So I like to hold my hand like this, so I'm not blocking her visual acuity. So now she's looking at these kids, and again, it's the easiest version of kids. The distance helps her feel comfortable, and there's only 2 or 3 kids. And so then we practice at 55 feet, or whatever the distance is. And then we might, after a couple treats and she seems to be relaxed, then we go to 54 feet, and then 53, and we gradually collapse that distance. When we get to the point where she won't sit or take the treat anymore, we know she's approaching her breaking point. We don't want to push past that because that will invalidate the work that we did. So we take note, okay, we're now at 42 feet. So now we're going to leave, and tomorrow we're going to come back at the same time. We're going to start at 42 or 43 feet and gradually keep on working our way, and eventually we get to the point where we're going to be a couple feet away from the playground. Now, I'd also set this up for success, like let the parents know when you're starting to get closer. Maybe leave her in the car, go out and tell the parents, hey, I have a very fearful dog, had a traumatic experience with kids. I'm trying to teach her that kids are safe to work with. But, so we're going to be here. I just wanted to let you know so you didn't think I was, what I was doing with my dog. And we're trying to have the kids not approach the dog because that's going to validate her fears. Do you think that would be okay? Would your kids be okay with that? Most people are like, of course, that's why you're even asking me. You're a public park. I'm showing respect for you, which we need a lot more in our society today anyways. But we don't want a bad situation where the kid goes, oh, doggy, and runs towards her, and that's going to panic her. Now, if that does happen, allow her to move away, move with her with your leash, and keep on moving away. If you have to pick up her or just run with her so the kid can't do it, she needs to understand that your number one priority is keep her safe and make her feel comfortable. So once we get to the point where we can be right next to the playground, now we could do it in a couple different capacities. We could do it just with 2 or 3 kids, but we're not going to always control who's going to be at the playground. So we're just going to keep on playing around with the elements. And if there's a lot of kids that are really energetic, you might have to back up a couple steps. Even though you were at 23 feet, you might have to go to 28 feet because it's so busy. That's okay. You're going to have ebb and flow, just like life. And eventually you get close enough and then you want to maybe observe the kids and find a kid who is like a gentler kid, a lower energy kid, and be like, hey, my dog got scared by a kid a little bit older. Could you help her? Can you just offer a treat to her side? And so now she gets to meet one kid near the playground, and the kid's offering the treat the same way that I just showed you. We're going to demonstrate again. So we counter condition her so she sees the kids and playing, and she has a treat in her mouth. And eventually we get close enough, then the kid starts offering a treat, but to the side, and letting her do it and holding her hand there. Okay, so once we've gotten through all these things, then she's going to feel a lot more comfortable. Now, again, anytime that we're getting coffee or something like that, if she's reacting and somebody wants to pet her, just be like, you know what, she's had a tough day. She's really anxious. She might nip. We want to, a lot of times, or maybe I'm training her to be a service dog. We need her to not pay attention to other people other than me. I'm sorry, but I thank you for asking. Always thank them for asking. And then basically now she has more space and she sees, okay, I can be out with my human. They're not allowing anything bad to happen to me. And remember, dogs have a fight or flight response. If I have her on a leash and a kid runs up and I have the leash tense and I don't allow her to run away, I'm forcing her into the fight response. And she will bite or nip if we don't get her out of that situation. So if you can, loosen the leash, don't let her get into trouble, but allow her to move away. The more she moves away, the more powered she is. Okay, and again, set her up for success with the exercise and all that fun stuff first. All right, so what we're going to do is we have her new guardian's amazing guy is here. And because she is a little bit fearful of people she hasn't completely relaxed around, we've spent some time going over these things. I'm going to kind of walk him through doing this. We've already done this, but we're going to capture this on camera. So if we have family or friends that are friends with Karina's guardian, they can watch this video and they kind of know where we're coming from. And remember, anything your dog is doing when you pet it is what you're reinforcing. And a lot of people think, I'm going to just pet the dog and show the dog I'm a good person. If I think you're creepy, the more you touch me without me wanting you to touch me is the more you're going to amplify that behavior, even if you get to touch me, but it's probably going to validate my fear and make me want to run away more. When you have guests come over, family members and friends, the best thing we can do is have them give her a lot of respect or a lot of space. And also I'd recommend putting her kennel in here and a dog bed in here. And if she's on her dog bed or in her kennel, nobody's allowed to interact with her except for her primary guardian who's filming this. That way she has safe places she can go to and I can run myself away instead of having to growl and nip. And you should never correct a growling dog. A dog is saying, I'm uncomfortable with this situation. I'm warning you that if things don't change, I'm gonna have to take the next level. We don't want her to take the next level. So I've had several clients that they punish their dog for growling. The dog's like, that's fine, I'll just go straight to a bite, I won't warn. And that's not what we want. She's warning because she's saying I'm uncomfortable. All right, so this is gonna be an interesting transition for the camera. So let's go ahead and kind of point the camera towards her and extend your arm a little bit. And so I'm out of the shot and then I'll take over. All right, and you can grab a seat right back where you were. All right, so now what we're going to do is we have the new person, the boyfriend, who's going to help us out. Now, what he's going to do is he's going to offer a treat to her as she's sitting. Sitting is an indication that she's comfortable. Laying down is also another indication. And see how she's raising her paw right there? That actually means please. So I think she's asking for a treat. She was looking at where I was pointing on the camera. Okay, so what he's going to do is he's going to offer his hand with a flat hand, and he's going to have a treat in, and he's going to lower his knee, below his knees, and call her by name. He's not going to ask her to sit at this point. We just want her to go over. And I want you to watch her back legs when she comes over to take this treat. Okay, go ahead and offer.
Karina.
Now, you can't see his face because I don't show faces, but he's turned away. Now, she actually didn't lean that way very well. Now, see how he left his hand still? See how she came back to sample it again? That time she leaned. You saw her back leg. She was leaning over. And he's holding still. She's coming back for a third time. And she's moving away. Okay, so now let's go ahead and grab another treat, and we'll do the same thing. Now, a lot of this is playing hard to get, and here she goes. See, as soon as he reached for the treat, she came back, and now she's lingering a little bit. Go ahead and offer it again. A little bit less lean, a little bit of linger, moved away, and going right back again. And so what we're going to do is we're going to keep on doing this approach until about every 30 seconds or so, until she comes over and she doesn't have that lean or she's lingering. Now at that point, then we could try to start transitioning and asking her to sit, but do not ask her to sit if when she sits, she moves a couple feet away. That's her way of saying I'm uncomfortable, or if she's leaning really far or looks really stiff. We want her to come over and just get all the treats and go ahead and give her another one. That's perfect. And this is, the more that you do this without touching her or talking to her or looking at her, the more that she feels comfortable and confident. So after enough practice, she'll start coming over and feeling more and more approachable because the person is demonstrating through their actions they can be trustworthy and they're not trying to force the dog to do anything. The dog is doing its own volition and she's getting a positive reinforcer. Now she's staying away, so let's go ahead and grab another treat and do it one more time. Now, when she takes that, you could say the word come. Now, if she's really fearful, though, I would have the person just give her the treat without doing anything else. But if she sort of feels comfortable, because that is the action of what she's doing, we're reinforcing, and that will also boost her self-esteem and confidence. Karina, sit. Sit. Well, this is the pretty and beautiful and intelligent Karina. And these are some tips and tricks you can use. Look at her, she's looking over. Does anybody have another treat for me? If you have a dog that's fearful about meeting new people, sit. Say hi to Sam. You look like a heart.